So, do you have any questions with regards to our exercise yesterday?
A lot.
A lot of questions. Let's entertain them first before we officially proceed. Okay? So, Harvey, you have the first question.
I was struggling with the rim part of the car.
Okay? No problem. No problem. Hindi natin siya priority. Ang priority natin yung detailing ng car. Okay? But at least you have 15 days to check our classwork sa Google Classroom. The files, everything would be available to you for 15 days. And Brian will reorient you mamaya with regards to that. Okay? So, you can continue working with it, then continue submitting, and then message me. Okay? Do sa classroom. And when you have questions, we can still, don't worry, we can still clarify things. I can still discuss with you a few things even after the session, okay? Even after class. Okay, so as long as it's within the Google Classroom. Uh, I know it's challenging dun sa part na to, no? Okay? I have done this a few times, okay? And note, we will be using layers and opacities in this session. First and foremost, di ba, gumawa that, we created a document, placed yung Lamborghini, and then you have to rename it Lamborghini, then append your name. Okay? So, make sure that you create a document and place the image, not open the document in Illustrator. Okay? Yung dinadrag natin or ino-open natin from the file and then open file. Hindi ganun yung process. We always create a new document and then place. File and then place. Hindi pala naka-highlight. Okay? Any questions? Any questions? Now, note, I have several layers here already, meaning this is a prepared file, but I'll show you each and every step that we've gone so far. So first, we did the outline. Can you see the outline in red? Okay, you can see the outline. So here, we did the outline and then we did the door detail. Now, again, I'll repeat this process. Whenever you create the outline here, okay, this outline here, ignore the outline of the side mirror. Those are always separate parts. Now, when I'm tracing images, I usually start either front to back or back to front. Okay, with regards to your orientation. Okay, and add the details as necessary. And I use layers as much. I use as minimal layers as possible. Okay, with layers are convenient. It allows you to isolate certain parts of the image that you are tracing. Okay, but sometimes when you have too many layers, it becomes unmanageable. So realistically, 10 layers is okay. 20 and up is already kind of ridiculous for something like this. Okay? So normally, each of these sections will be contained in one layer. For example, the main outline, the main trace outlines will be in one layer. Then you can simply move up certain portions, okay, na i-isolate niyo into separate layers. For example, this is a demo. This is the demo illustration. Usually, I will separate this, okay, into another layer, like so, and create a new demonstration from there. In your case, when you're illustrating, these are separate layers in terms of build up, okay? But this entire thing can be done in a single layer. Nagiging mahirap nga lang yung management if you are using a single layer for the entire thing. Kasi once na, if, for example, you send back or you send to back something, okay? Or send behind something, or send to front something, and you didn't keep track of that particular small object, you can get lost within that single layer. So you build up the layers as you go, okay? But remember, as minimum number of layers as possible, okay? So here, note when I do this, I separate some of the details that look that seem to me to be in the foreground. For example, this one. When you look at the car three-dimensionally, this is the first thing. This is the front. Okay, this is the frontmost part of the car. The next is the door. The next is the side trims, and of course the rims. You can already create one layer for the entire body and then separate layers for the wheels or the rims, separate layers for the additional details para mas madali. Okay? Now, in this session, we'll do two things at the same time. I'll give you 30 minutes each for these two things. Progressively, magiging more complicated siya. So either 10 minutes for the first session, 15 minutes for the first section, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Okay? Questions? Okay. In this case, what we'll need to do now, if you ignore, for example, if you don't see these layers first, I'll create new layers here. So this one is my main outline, okay? This section here. Note, I'll try to edit this. Okay, this is a different set. Normally, I don't have a point here. Okay. Now, why do I need a point here? Because this is technically a corner. Why do I have a point here? Because there's a straight line detail here going from this point, this area to this area. Okay. So I'll need to add a point here later on. Why? Because in this method, okay, remember I mentioned yesterday that you don't need a lot of points. So here, I'll remove this point. It's really unnecessary. Okay. So I now have how many points here? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 points here, 4 points here. Okay, I'll just adjust this first. Okay. So why do I need these points in those sections? Because in your next activity, okay, from your main layer, layer 1 natin, okay, create a new layer, like so. For example, this is your second layer. And then select this object only, the door object, and then drag it upwards to the new layer. Okay? When you drag, press what to copy? What key? What key do we press to copy while we're
Oh,
dragging an object out? It's the same thing. When you're moving across an artboard, you press Alt to copy while you're dragging. When you're moving across between layers, okay, you also press drag Alt to copy like so. When you do that, notice na meron lumabas na plus dun sa icon. Okay? It means that you're copying the object while you're dragging it up the new layer. Okay? You now have a new copy. Always make a copy when you're doing this activity. Do not use the original traced object. Okay? Do not use the original outline. Lagi ka may copy dun sa original layer mo. So you have something to fall back to. Okay? This is done because it has happened to me a few times, okay? I'm all the way through, almost done. Magsa-save na lang ako, nag-hang yung computer, nag-crash yung application. bye-bye, everything. Wala akong fallback. So two things, you always save your files. No problem with the latest version of Illustrator. Why? Not really a problem, but it can still happen. Okay? You have autosave in Illustrator now. So whenever you're working, you save the file. It will save every 5-10 minutes or so. Okay? Sometimes it will tell you cannot autosave because your hard disk is full, something like that. Okay? Because it stores certain number of instances that you have done into memory. Okay, and it saves it at certain times. But I do not rely on autosave. I always save every 5-10 minutes while working. So, and when I'm almost done, it has happened to me a few times. It's a brochure na 8 columns. I'm on the 7th column. I was saving the crash. Okay? Ibig sabihin nun, yung buong, I had to do a lot of things again. So here, once you set another copy, this one naman, there are certain things that when you apply it, hindi mo naman, you won't be able to recover or start again because you don't have a separate copy here. Once you convert this into that next thing mamaya gagawin natin, okay, you won't be able to convert it back into the outline. Okay, so here, what do we do first? The first technique of colorizing, we're going to colorize this, okay? The first thing you need to do is go back to your original image first. Okay, I'll give you 5 minutes to do this. Okay, quickly. Go to swatches. Okay, create a group if you want to. Okay, new color group. Where did I click? Dun sa new folder. And then click OK. Now, when you create a new color group, uh, transparency, okay, you check the darkest yellow or orange using the eyedropper, like so. Okay, it will be reflected here. It will appear here on your toolbox or on your swatches. For quicker reference, let's do this. Go to swatches, hiwalay mo muna, okay, and then eyedropper, and then click here on your new color group and add new swatch. When you add the new swatch, okay, it will ask you these you will be given this several options. Keep it in global. It's easier to work with solid colors when it is in global mode. Okay, just in case you need to tweak the colors later on. Okay, just in case you need to tweak the colors later on, you can simply adjust this and it will automatically change all the colors. So that's my first color here. I'll check the lightest, okay? And then select several options here, several colors here, until you have enough, say like 5 instances of color. So I'll check the lightest, make a swatch, okay? Huwag niyo nang gamitin tong add to my library para hindi siya nag-open up ulit. Click okay. If it doesn't go to your color group, simply drag it to the color group. Okay. Next, I'll choose one of the darkest. New. Okay. And then click OK. Pag di mo siya nag-add, but add mo siya dito. So on and so forth. Okay. Use or create at least 5. I'll give you 5 minutes. Quickly. You don't have to share your screen anymore. Just do it quickly and then tell me when you're done. Or I'll give you 5 minutes. And you can do this as we create the remaining as we create the remaining exercises. As we do the remaining exercises. Now note, you can do as I do if you like. Ako, na-OC lang ako, no? You don't really have to do this. You can arrange your color swatches from darkest to lightest or lightest to darkest or vice versa. It's going to be easier to pick the color that you need if you do it this way, but it's not really necessary. Okay? Sometimes kasi when you have several colors, like around 10 to 20 swatches with similar tones, very minor differences, it's difficult to choose between. So here, at least you have a certain tonality and shading, okay? Shade and tones. Okay, so can we continue now? Okay, just in case, continue adding swatches as you need them later on. So going back to layers. Okay, once you create the new object here, nasa layer 11 ako, note that you have several points here. That's what we're gonna use to create, by the way, every time you create a new layer, okay, hide the previous one except for your template, and then lock the rest of the layers underneath it. Okay? When you're working on a new layer, para hindi ninyo nagagalaw yung underlying layer. Okay? So, on layer 11, select this points, should select these points here. Why? Why do I need to select these points here? Because up to this point, yun yung ika-copy niya. Or you can do this. Okay? You can drag select whenever the selection is clear from other points. Okay? Don't do this if you're not sure if you're hitting other points here. Like for example, this one, tatamaan yung path dito. Path and points for that matter. Or, this is where the lasso tool comes in. The lasso tool allows you to do this. Okay? Parang drag select din siya, kaya lang you're creating a lasso around those selected points. It's similar in context with the lasso tool in Photoshop. In the lasso tool in Photoshop, you're selecting or you're lassoing a certain area. Okay, this one, around that area will be the number of points. So what do we do next? We copy and then paste in front. Okay, once we paste in front, you now have this object here. Okay? Now, for easier reference, I'll change the color of my stroke here into one of the colors that I'm going to use later. So, dapat nga nakahiwalay nito. Where's my layers? There. Okay, so I'll change the stroke here to my next color in the set. For example, this one here. And this one, yung main color ko, I'll change it into the darker color that I chose here, which is this one. So, you can see that they look almost the same from afar, but they are distinct colors. Okay? So why did I do that? Why did I change the color here? So you can simply switch from your toolbox, you can simply switch the color from the stroke to the fill like so. This one as well, you can simply change the color from the stroke to the fill. Okay? Because we're not going to use stroke colors here, or at least not really necessary. Now this one is straight. What we need to do now is simply add another point here. Sorry, not add another point here. Add a line here to make it look a little bit wavy, like so. Now this color style is pop art. You'll notice that this is done mostly by Andy Warhol. Solid colors, okay, solid colors and shapes. To add another detail here, okay, we need this section, the topmost section. So we only need to select this point here and this point here, copy, and then paste front. All you need to do now is change the color from that mid-range orange to a lighter orange like so, and then simply add your line. Okay? Questions? Do you want to do this first or into the next one na? Okay, do this first. I'll give you 10 minutes. So you should be finished by 9:35. Share your screens, please. John, John,
Yeah, sir.
this should be curved a little bit. Okay, not really a straight line. Same here. Medyo i-curve mo lang siya. Okay?
This one and wait ano yung isa?
Oh, well, although it looks straight, it's always best to do it, do a curve instead of a straight line. Okay? In
Okay.
all of these instances, although you're seeing it straight, like for example, this looks straight, make it a curve. Okay? Put control points in it just in case. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. The easiest way to put a curve here, let me borrow your screen for a while. Okay? The easiest way to add a curve here is to simply use the anchor point tool and drag this section here. Okay?
Okay.
Instamatic. Automatic, meron siyang curve. Okay, same here. This one, simply drag it a little bit, like so. Ayun na siya. Okay? You do it. Anna, you don't have to do these dali, you don't have to do these details anymore. Okay? Yung mga in-specify lang natin para hindi kayo masyadong magtagal. And isolate this already in a new layer and then hide it. Yung lahat ng part ng side mirror.
Bali, lipat ko po ng ibang layer na po.
Yes, ilipat mo na siya ibang layer. And then label it side mirror. And then this one, hindi rin naman natin kasi gagamitin yan eh. So, at any rate, at least meron kang copy.
Okay, sige.
Okay? Who else has a question?
Sir Tony, question po.
Okay, JR.
Sir, paano po ulit mag-copy nung from point to point dun sa path? Kasi pag kinakopy ko siya, sir, lahat nung path nakakopy.
Use the direct. Okay, stop sharing. Papakita ko ulit on the screen for everyone. Okay, you have, gamitin na natin ito. You have this object. Remember, you have equal number of points here. Okay? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, when you select this, alin yung makakopy na object, na part ng object? You're probably using this. Do not, in this exercise, you will not use this that much. This is the selection tool. Whenever you select this, the entire thing is selected. Whenever you click this, the entire thing is selected. Here, we're gonna use direct selection tool more. Okay? So, when you select this, what is selected? Just the point or included yung pads? Okay? You can test it by copying and then pasting. So, yun na yun yung selected. Now, in this case, ang kailangan natin na buo is this, kasama ito up to this point here. So, we need to include this and this. So, copy, paste in front. Okay? Okay na, JR?
Sir, tinest ko kasi sa akin yung binubuo ko kasi, sir, yung door, side door. Yung nanggagaling, sir, dun sa may window. 'Di ba, sir, yung pinaka-line dun sa taas.
Okay. So from this point,
Dun pa lang ako, sir. Dun sa may window. Tinuro ko pa, sir, sa window.
Okay.
Yung tinuro mo sa akin, sir, kahapon.
this one.
Yan, sir,
Okay.
ako. Pag kinapi ko siya, sir, using yung direct selection, control copy, napipaste, sir, yung buo.
Hindi. Yeah, di ba?
Yan, sir, opo.
Because you're using this.
Yung isa, sir, gamit ko po. Yung direct, yan, sir.
This one.
Opo.
Saan ka nag-click?
Ang kinlik ko, sir, yung point sa left, tsaka yung point sa right.
No, you don't do this. You don't click here and click here. This is what you're doing, right?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, so when you do that, ano yung selected? Kasama to.
Okay.
Yan yung nangyayari. Kasama yan.
Oh, sir. Opo.
Okay? So, since you don't have a point here, sa gitna nila,
Opo.
okay, ang seselect mo lang yung path lang.
Ah.
Copy, paste. Yung path lang. When you select points kasi, ang kasama yung kadikit ng point. Whatever path is connected to the point, it will be included. Now, in certain cases, this can happen. Okay? Hindi mo siya nakikita, pero may extra point dyan. So, when you select this, when you select one of the points here, akala mo selected the entire thing, or when you select the point here, and then you copy and then you paste, nakakopy pa rin yung buong section. Okay? Okay, continue. Extend natin ng konti. Gawin natin 9:43.
Sir Tony, may question ako.
Sino yun?
Hello, Mel.
Mel?
Yes,
Is that you?
Oo.
Okay, Mel.
Teka, pwede ko share yung screen ko?
Yes, go ahead. Share your
Okay.
screen again, everyone.
Let's say dito sa ano, no? Okay. Meron
Hindi
akong...
pa nakashare. Ayan.
Okay. So dito, halimbawa, dito sa certain point na to, gusto ko siyang magkaroon ng curve handle dito lang sa isang side. Ano yung shortest way? Kasi pag ginamit ko tong like yung anchor point tool, of course, dalawa agad yung curve handle niya, both sides. Let's say kung gusto ko isang side lang siya, magkaroon ng curve handle.
Then, yung pinakita ko rin niya kanina kay simply drag the path. Yung path mismo ang i-drag mo. Yung path, hindi yung point.
Yan. Okay. Ito, halimbawa.
There.
Okay, so, okay.
Okay?
Okay, sige, sir. Thank you.
Okay, I'll show it to you later. I'll show it to everyone later also.
Okay.
Sino yung di nakashare? Harvey, are you okay?
Shared now, sorry.
Ramir is finished. Okay, Harvey, I'm viewing your screen right now. What you're going to select is the path. Yung gitna lang yung nasa door mismo, di ba? You have 2 points dun sa wait. Di ba? You have a point here and a point here. What you're going to select with the direct selection tool is the path. Click mo yung path. Click mo lang yung path. Ay, hindi. Sorry.
Tony,
Yes.
I was about to do that. Pinaghihiwalay ko pa lang yung path ng mirror sa door kasi magkakasama sila. So, ngayon ko pa lang hinihiwalay.
Okay. Go ahead. Proceed.
Thank you.
JR. Okay na, sige na. Just continue. I'll comment later. Mel, pa-mute.
Okay, sorry.
Tony, question, please. You're on mute.
Yes, Ramir.
I'm Harvey.
I'm sorry. Harvey. Wait. Harvey.
Yes, are you seeing my screen now?
Yes.
Question. Tama ba na yung door is may kulay yung, pati yung upper part, tapos pinapatungan lang ng mga highlights? O dapat hanggang dito lang yung ano ko, may panga dito?
And then that's correct. It's like it's like layers then. If you're doing paper cutouts, okay. What was supposed to happen is what you did here is you separated the top highlight with the bottom highlight. Okay. Okay. Naka-separate ito. Dapat yan. Ito buo rin. This one. Dapat buo rin siya rito.
Okay. Okay.
I didn't stop you because that's also okay. That's also possible. That's another technique. But in our case, ito dapat buo. This top section up to this section here, dapat continuous siya. Ikaw na mag-ayos medyo mabagal eh.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. This top section here, dapat buo rin. Kasama ito. Okay. Itong buong section na to.
Okay.
Don't change it anymore. It doesn't really matter. You can practice it later on dun sa method na yan. But this is not wrong. Okay? This is not wrong. Kaya lang, doble yung trabaho na ginawa mo dito. You have to fix this. You have to fix this.
Okay. I have same question for, let me control my mouse. For the side mirror.
Okay.
Hindi ko alam kung kailangan mabuo o dapat hiwa-hiwalay sila.
That's okay. Okay. What we're doing kasi, okay, kaya nag-i-start tayo sa buo because it's the source of all our shapes.
Okay.
Pads. Kaya inuuna natin yung buo. Now, you can segregate it, okay? Walang problema doon. There's nothing wrong with that. You can segregate those sections na wala kang isang buo. But the main point of having a whole object is that's our main source. Meron tayong fallback. Okay?
Okay.
Just in case we make a mistake, meron tayong babalikan na object. Okay?
Okay.
So, build up tayo, not build down.
So,
okay,
this is
what?
So, this is not wrong.
That's not, there's nothing wrong with that, okay? Actually, buo pa rin yung likod mo. So, that's okay. Okay, let's, please stop sharing your screen. I'll share my screen. Now, everyone, Harvey asked a good question, okay? Remember that, remember we had this uh, remember our pathfinder exercise? Okay? Na meron tayong section na ganito and then when we divide, okay? These are now separate sections. Okay? But in some cases, you don't really have to separate the details anymore. What you can do is when you need a certain half here, okay, this is what we're doing. We add another point here, we add a point here, we select just this point, okay, copy paste in front, and add the detail like so. Your original object is intact, okay, and then you have the additional detail like so. Okay? So, buo pa rin yung underlying mo. But there's nothing wrong with doing this. Magkahiwalay siya. Kaya lang, you don't have the fallback anymore. Of course, you can always undo, but once you save it, wala na siya. Hindi mo na siya ma-recover. Correct? Hindi mo na siya mabubuo ulit. Correct?
Yes, sir.
No, it's not correct. Pwede mo pa siyang buuin ulit using Pathfinder. Like so. Buo siya ulit. Anything you can do with any of the Pathfinder tools here, you can do the reverse by simply pressing Unite. Well, most of the time. Most of the time. In some cases, I'll show you something. Copy, paste in front. Dalawa ngayon yung objects dyan. When I divide this, what will happen? You're dividing an object with itself. What happened? Nothing happened. Kasi you're dividing an object with itself. But in some cases, may makikita kayo nagdadagdag siya ng points dyan, meaning hindi aligned properly yung dalawang objects. Okay? So when you see that happens, and it can happen that when you're doing Pathfinder controls and you're not getting the results that you expect, okay, you have to fix that later on. Questions? Okay, after this, I'll give you another 10 minutes for this. This should be quick. Okay, you're familiar with this process. If you're not done yet with the spot colors, with the solid colors, pop colors or pop art, okay, don't worry. You can continue that later on. This now, create another layer for this. Remember, everything that we do, new layer. Okay? And you copy the same object like so, dragging it, then pressing up. So this is now a new layer. Okay? Now, this is what we do next. By the way, this is the result of my hindi pala siya naka-align, sorry. Okay, this is my original object. So, where's my next object? So here, I'll just work on this one. Okay, you now have your colors here on your swatches. What we do next is create gradients. Okay, you've been doing gradients. This should be easy for you to do. How do we create gradients right away here? What are the two ways of creating a gradient? First, you drag a color like so from the swatches to the gradient panel like so. Yan ngayon yung first color mo. Next, choose another color, say the darker one, like so. Okay, that's your first gradient. You can change it as linear or radial. But you can actually create two gradients of the same, two types, linear and radial, of the same color, of the same two colors. So this one, you can save right away. change it to radial, like so. Dalawa na ngayon yung gradients mo. Isang linear, isang radial. Okay? Let's say you have these two gradients and okay ka nang gumawa ng gradient, ng detail for this. This is radial. So you have several controls here. When you use the gradient tool, okay, you can move this around like so. And you can also change the radius. Ayaw bang sana? You can change the radius of the gradient, and you can also change it from radial to elliptical. So meron ka na ngayong additional detail without really having to create additional objects. Okay? Now what's next? Napaka-boring naman ito. Let's add another gradient here. Now, I'll remove the stroke. What you can do next is add another object by copying this and pasting this in front. You know now that there are two objects here of the same attribute, same gradient location. But you cannot see the underlying object, right? Because this is opaque. What do we need to change to see the underlying gradient? What do we need to change? What do we need to manipulate?
Opacity.
Opacity. So where do we go there? Transparency, okay? A quick discussion on opacity and transparency. They're basically the same thing at each end. If an object is opaque, it's not transparent. If it's not transparent, it's opaque. What if it's in the middle? Semi-transparent, semi-opaque? The proper term is actually translucent. Anything in between opaque and transparent is translucent. Okay? But we use the nakakalito kasi yung semi-opaque. There's no such thing as semi-opaque or semi-transparent. Okay? It's either transparent or opaque, and then translucent. But again, convention, we can use it. We can change the opacity like so. Hindi mo pa rin makikita yan kasi it's the same gradient. Okay? But if you change this from any of the blend modes here, multiply, nakita mo, nag-darken yung object because you have another gradient there of the same density, of the same colors. And if you change this location here, nagbabago rin yung density ng color, pati yung highlight. So this one, you can already manipulate the color scheme or the color density of your detail without having to add another gradient. Okay? But this is inconvenient kasi you now have two objects. Okay? What's the easier way of doing this without having to add another object? Delete natin yan. Select the object again. Where do we edit effects in an object? Diba, we applied an effect, so yung 3D effect. We want to edit an effect. We want to add an effect. Where do we add that? What panel?
Appearance.
Yes, very good. We go to appearance panel and note we have a section, parang layers din siya, no? The appearance panel is parang object layers. Okay? We can add another fill here simply by duplicating this or dragging this here, like so. You now have the second layer, the second fill. But it's still a single object. Hindi ka nagdagdag ng object. Now, the process that I've shown you earlier, adding another object on top, is old school method. I still do that from time to time if I need a separate control for the same shape. Okay? This one, I can only control one object. So, in a case-to-case basis, I use that old school method. We used that before when there were no appearance panel before. Tsaka yung layers niya before, yung layer behavior niya before, different. Okay? So here, you can do the same thing. Change the opacity of that particular fill into multiply or any blend mode if you like. And you can do the same as if it's a separate object. Okay? This will only affect that particular gradient on that particular fill dun sa appearance panel. It will not affect the underlying fill. Okay? When you deselect that, select it again, andun pa rin yung dalawa na yan. Okay? So, here, quickly, I'll give you another 10 minutes to do this. You can create as many gradients or gradient fills here as you like to add the effect that you want to your door detail. Okay? By the way, you can also rotate this if you like. Change this, and you can even change that into a linear gradient, like so. Gradient. Make this into a linear. Okay? And iba rin yung quality na lumalabas for linear. Okay? But this is, again, this is a simple detail for gradients. Proceed. I'll give you 10 minutes. And then after 10 minutes, automatic, it's 10 o'clock. 10:10, we'll take a quick 10-minute break. Okay? Proceed. John, pamute. Ramir and Harvey, please share your screens. Ramir, you should be working on a separate layer for that. You shouldn't use your layer for solids. Copy paste mo na lang yan into a new layer.
New layer na yan. Ayan o, door copy.
Okay. So,
Pero
okay.
nandiyan pala yung solids niya. Hindi ko
Okay,
lang
sige.
tinanggal.
Okay.
Okay.
No worries.
So, any question? This is Harvey.
Yes.
On my screen,
Yes, Harvey.
bakit yung opacity naka-disable ito?
Check mo ang layer mo. Then go to opacity again. To transparency. Yeah. Okay. I-click mo yung fill.
This one.
Click mo yung fill. Yan. Yan. Click mo siya. Okay? You are, ang nakaselect sa'yo, yung solid color mo. So you're trying to change the opacity of your solid color. Okay? Not your gradient. So, select mo yung object, go to your opacity. Okay, select mo yung object, nakaselect na. Okay?
May question pa ako isa. Every time
Okay.
i-move ko lang siya pero nagbabago. Gusto ko lang i-move yung
I-drag mo
circle.
yung bar. I-drag mo yung bar.
This one. Tama.
And then, huwag dyan sa annotator. Dun sa bar mismo. Dito, sorry. Yung bar mismo ang
Okay.
sige. Drag mo. Ayaw?
Okay.
Ayan.
Now, fill.
Okay na?
Not yet. How about if I will select this? No. Nakaselect tong ating dahil
Because this is the one that you're selected. Okay? Nakaselect ka dito.
okay.
So, okay? So, yan ngayon yung ini-edit mo.
Okay.
Okay? So, click mo ulit yung selection tool here. Okay? Ngayon, nawala na yung selection yung solid, di ba? Ang selected na ngayon. Okay? Because you're on gradient edit mode. Kaya yun yung naka-select.
Okay.
Now, you selected the object, naka-fill edit mode ka na. Hindi na yung gradient ang ine-edit mo.
No.
Okay?
Okay.
Ngayon, pwede mo nang ibaguhin. Okay?
Okay, got it.
Okay. Now here, the issue here, kaya nakikita mo yung ilalim, is because you don't have a secondary fill dun sa appearance. Bago mo i-edit yan, hindi, wag yan ang i-edit mo. Ibalik mo yan sa normal. Okay? So what do we do? Kailangan mo ngayon ng, yung fill mo here, i-clear ko lang ha, yung fill mo here, duplicate mo by dragging it into the new icon. Hindi sa trash ha, new
Okay.
icon.
That's what I forgot.
That's, okay, yan ngayon yung secondary fill, yan ngayon yung i-edit mo. Okay? So everyone,
Itong fill na ito, nasa ilalim siya. Ito yung nasa ibabaw. Tama?
Yes. Ano pa rin siya? May hierarchy pa rin siya. Kung ano yung nasa taas, yun yung nasa taas in terms of your arrangement on the artboard.
Okay.
Okay? Everyone, take a 10-minute break. Mel and Annalyn are still not responding. Hello? Okay. Anyway, let's continue. I know they can catch up naman. Mel is back. Si Annalyn na lang. Okay, let's continue. We're now going to do blends, simple blend and multiple blends. Now, with blends, okay, we'll start with a basic shape again. We're gonna use the same door image, okay, and we're gonna duplicate that again. In some cases, you can simply create one layer for the door and then duplicate that layer para mas madali. Okay, regardless, okay, I can always just do this. Madali lang naman. Okay, and then hide this. Now, with blends and multiple blends, okay, this is a simple blend. I'll show you a simple blend. This is similar to the process we did with the solid colors. Kaya lang we're going to apply blends this time. Now, the difference is when we do this, we can move the blend around and change the direction of the points and pads, change the shape of the points and pads to simulate gradients, okay? But this is not a gradient, okay? So, is Annalyn back? Welcome back, Annalyn. Okay, so this one will be the darker color. Excuse me. This one will be the brighter, the medium orange. Okay? Now, when you do blends, do not, similarly with 3D, do not put in color on the stroke. The stroke must be blank. Fill lang ang merong laman. Okay? So, when you blend this, what's the command for blend? Can't remember? You have object and then blend and then make. It's Alt Control B or Option Control B or Mac. Okay? Or you can use the blend tool. I seldom use the blend tool anymore. The command more often. But also, if I want to change the blend options, I double click here, which is actually quicker. When you double click on the tool in the toolbox, lalabas yung blend options. Okay? So I'll cancel this first and then I'll blend like so. You can now see the color change between the two. You're seeing this because your points are not aligned with each other. Okay? You have 4 points here. You have 4 points here, you have 3 points here. So hindi nag-align yung points. And this is the reason why we need to use the same object. Okay, we're not gonna cut the object anymore. We're gonna use the same object with and then copy paste it and then edit or manipulate that particular object. We are not gonna cut any part of the object anymore or blend. Okay, for this to work. Now this is a single blend. You can actually add another blend here by copying and pasting in front the same object you have here, like so, and then editing that object, changing the color, like such. So you now have, dapat nasa fill. Okay? And you now have a multiple blended object. Questions? Can you do it now without me showing you dun sa door? Can you? Can you?
We'll
Yvonne?
try.
We'll try. Sige, papakita ko na rin. Okay? So, here, mukha siyang kind of three-dimensional in effect. Okay? Now, if we change this from yung nature ng point mo also affects the nature of the gradient. If you change this from corner to curve, you'll notice na magbabago rin yung blend dito sa gilid. Okay, naging smoother din siya. Okay, the direction of your gradient also changes, your blend also changes, the sharpness was softened like so. Naging softer siya. So your points, the nature of your points, the attribute of your points also affects the blending. So here, I'll start now with a solid color para mas mabilis. Okay? This one, you're not gonna cut anything. You're gonna copy the entire thing and then paste it in front. So there's now two objects there. The original plus the copy and paste it in front. Okay? And you edit this. Hindi mo siya i-delete. Wala kang i-delete kahit ano. Okay? And this is going to be your first object. Okay? And you can edit that later on. Okay? Gagawin ko lang na mabilis. And then you blend that. Change the color first of the second object. Like so. If this is your second object. And then when you blend that, okay? Mukha siyang gradient, the straight. The difference is, this one, you can immediately control the shape. How do we change this from a straight line to a curve? I've shown you this earlier. Okay? Without having to use the pen, without having to manipulate the corners to create handles, what do we need to use? What tool? John showed you to
Anchor point tool.
Anchor point tool, very good. Although this is the anchor point tool, this also affects the path. It allows you to change the shape of your path automatically without having to introduce the handles first. And this one, okay, introduces the handle and you can manipulate the handle so you can see even the shape of the blend changes. Okay, so now before doing any drastic change, okay, like so, I'll copy this and then paste it in front again. And since I copied this from an existing gradient, part siya no, existing blend, part siya ngayon nung blend. Okay? Whenever you copy an object from an existing blend set, it will be part of the copy and paste in front. It will be part of that set. Now, here's the difference. If you copy this and then deselect the object and then paste it, it will be separate. Okay? That only works if your object is still selected when you pasted it. Okay? Here, it's still connected because this is a previous copy. Okay? And then you add another, you change the color again. And when you change the shape now, like so, meron ka na ngayong additional na color value or highlight in this case. Okay? And this is where you do this. You can see that there's now a sharp edge here. It's because your gradient, your blend is still transitioning from this point to this point. So what you do is you manipulate this to the edge of the object like so. Kailangan itong, kung alin yung point na nag-create nito, dapat nasa edge din siya. Oops, sorry. Dapat nasa edge din siya when you manipulate this. Nagsasara ngayon yung blend. Okay? Questions?
Sir, yung pag-press po nung blend is one time lang po.
One time lang. One time. You only blend once. The first two sets, the first two objects, you blend them, and then you direct select the topmost object, or for that matter, the bottommost object. Okay? Pwede yun. But here, you progress from bottom upwards. Okay? You copy, direct select the topmost object, copy, paste in front, and then you edit that object. Take note, wala akong ni-remove na point, wala akong sinelect na distinct number of points and then copy paste it. Okay? Note, when you change the shape now, mas madaling i-control ngayon yung highlight as compared to using just the gradient. Okay? Questions? Of course, when you do this, you need to do detail, a little bit of detailing like so. And it now looks a little bit better compared to your simple blend. Okay, so dalawa yung gagawin ninyo, no? When you do this first simple blend, duplicate that simple blend into another layer and create the multiple blends. Okay, kahit tatlo lang. Don't add any more. But there's no limit to the number of objects in a blend. You can create multiple, you can create a blend with a lot of multiple objects. Okay, proceed. Please share your screen.
Sir Tony, question po.
Who's that?
JR po, sir.
JR. Yes.
Sir, sorry po. Yung second layer ko, sir, yung
Second object, not layer.
object pala, sir. Pag kinapi-paste ko, sir, hindi nagbe-blend yung third object.
Paano hindi nabe-blend?
Pag kinapi ko, sir, and then paste in front.
Sige, copy mo.
Ah,
Hindi ganyan, hindi ganyan. Copy lang. Command.
wait lang, sir. Copy.
Ayun. Ay, hindi. Kasi hindi mo pa binabago yung color.
Wait lang, sir.
Nawala. Nawala ka. Nawala yung share mo.
Wait, sir. Wait lang, sir.
Okay na, JR?
Ito, sir, ito, sir, yung second object.
I-drag out mo nga yan.
Sir.
Ayan, naka-blend.
Apo. Pag kakopy ko siya, sir,
Okay, teka. Ang mali dito, no? Ang kinapi mo yung top section lang.
ito, sir, yung kinapi ko originally.
Okay.
Tapos, nung pinis ko, sir, ni-reshape ko siya maging ganito.
Okay. Tanggalin. I-select mo yung buong object using the selection tool. The entire object set. Tapos, tanggalin mo ngayon yung blend. Go to object, blend,
Release po.
release. Yes. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So, i-delete mo yan. Okay? Select mo ngayon ulit yung original object. Okay, direct selection, copy, paste in front. Naka-paste in front na, palitan mo na kagad yung color. Gawin yung next, yan yung gamitin mo. Okay? And then, using the direct selection, drag yung point na to, tsaka yung point na to, upwards to here. Hindi. Yung point lang na to, ito lang point.
Ay, sorry, sir.
Click mo lang yung point na yan. No.
Ito lang, sir.
Oo, drag mo
Ito.
muna. Isa-isahin mo lang siya. One at a time. Okay?
Okay.
Drag. Teka ha. Disperse. Click, drag mo siya dito sa region na to. No.
Ganito, sir.
No, yeah. Yung point mismo ang i-drag mo.
Ito, sir. Nadrag ko
I-drag.
dito.
Oh, okay. Okay na yan. Same with the other one.
Ito, sir.
Yes. Diyan mo lang muna. And then, blend the object. Hindi siya mabe-blend kasi isa lang yung nakaselect. I-select mo
Okay.
pareho.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes,
Now, direct selection ulit. Deselect mo yung object.
Ito
Deselect.
lang, sir, nasa front po.
I-deselect mo, click mo outside the objects.
Yan, sir.
Then, select mo ngayon top object. Copy. Paste in front.
Yan, sir. Then,
Palitan mo na yung color. And then, drag mo. Same thing. Drag mo yung... Ayan. Naka-blend na.
ito, sir. Ito, sir,
Ay,
hindi. Nag-copy and paste in front lang ako, sir.
Version. Yun na nga. At any rate, andali
Sige, sir.
click mo
Ito,
yung
sir.
blend tool. Dapat automatic yan eh. Okay?
Opo.
Click and drag mo dito. Click, drag. Click and click. Sorry, hindi click, drag. Click mo yun. Ayan. Okay na. Nag-blend na. Pero usually, dapat automatic yan eh.
Oo nga, sir. May something na sa settings.
Okay?
Sige, sir.
O, sige.
Thank you, sir.
If ever, ganun na lang. How about the rest of you? How about the rest of you? Just experiencing the same thing? Pa-mute mo na, JR.
Sorry.
Yvonne, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Pa-share ng screen mo.
Tony, I have a question.
Yes, Ramir.
Okay. Bakit yung blend ko lumalampas? Yung third.
Okay lang yan. Tuloy mo lang yan. Okay lang yan. May solusyon dyan.
Okay. Pero ito yung sasabi mo, okay lang. Kasi kunyari yan, di ba? Tapos,
Ah,
nilapit ko ng ganyan. Ayun
ah.
na, lumalampas.
Kasi yung blend mo, may direction. It also has direction. Okay? I'll show
Okay.
that later kung ano yung
Okay.
nangyayari din. Nakikita mo yung, sorry, nakikita mo yung control point mo dito.
So, pag ginalaw, oops, sorry. So, ito yung may,
Sige, i-move in mo siya. Tapos i-move back mo yung point. Etong point na to, i-move back mo doon. Nandun pa rin, di ba? Ibig sabihin yan, may overlap talaga yung blend. Okay? I cannot see what you're doing right now. Pa-control ng screen.
Ayan na.
Actually, dito pa lang, you already have a discrepancy. Oh. Kita mo yan?
Dun sa second blend.
Oo, meron ka ng discrepancy dito eh.
Oo.
Ayan, oh.
Oo nga.
This, I'm not sure where it's coming from, but it's from one of your blends, earlier blends. At any rate, mukhang okay naman to. So, continue mo lang siya. If it overlaps, don't worry. You have the original shape, right?
Yes.
Ayan. So, may gagawin. Meron tayong pwedeng gawin na yun.
May solusyon yan.
May solution. There's always a solution.
Okay.
Continue lang.
Thank you.
I'll give you until 11 o'clock. Still have 4 minutes to finish that. Finished or not finished, okay lang yan. You can continue that offline. And then we're gonna do the last exercises. 2 more exercises, actually. Same exercise, 2-parter lang. Harvey, you don't have your screen. Pa-share. Everyone, please stop sharing your screen. Save your files. Quick 5-minute break, and then we'll do our last two exercises. Everyone, can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, with your questions, I know you've seen this. Ayan, meron tayong overlap. Okay? In most cases, you can simply fix that by moving the point inside, back again. Okay? Yung overlap na yan is because when you blend, okay, when you blend two objects, okay, their inherent shapes affect the blend as well. Okay, so let's say I have 20 steps here. So, can't see the blend right now. Let's change the color. Yung inherent shape nila, okay, affects the blend. If you have more than two, okay, if you have more than two, okay, and you want a straight line here, and this one is larger, magkakaroon talaga ng discrepancy yan. Okay, for example, this one, ibabalik ko sa dito. Yan, mag-overlap sila dito. Okay, and this is what's happening here. May overlap siya between the two shapes because of the blend here. Now, if I move it in, excuse me. If I move it in, you can see now the color of the object behind that object. Okay? So it's really a matter of adjusting this. But don't worry, if you do an overlap like this, if you want a straightforward, if you like this, what do you need to do? We have the original object, right? We simply copy the original object and then paste it in front like so. And what's next? You want to clip this, yung overlap na yan. What do we need? What do we need to do? What process, what command do we need to do to clip that?
Pathfinder.
Pathfinder? No. Remember, this is already a blend. Okay? This is a group of objects. We just need to isolate this. What does Batman wear? What does Batman wear?
Mask?
A mask. Ima-mask natin siya using the original shape. Okay? So, even if you do overlaps, no problem. Use the original object, paste it in front on top of the blend group or the blend set, then go to object, clipping mask, and make. Okay? Which is what we can also do dun sa next process natin. Any questions with regards to this? Most of you have done this properly. Okay naman siya. You just need a little bit more practice on the point-to-point editing. Pati yung pag-edit nung control point. Sometimes may mga nalilito pa sa inyo. Okay? Okay lang yon. You just need practice. Okay? Because this is where what I said is important. Minimum number of points, okay, is best. Why? Because you only need to adjust a few points. Kung saan katerba yung points ninyo, ang dami ninyong i-edit. Okay? So this long length here and this long length here, hindi mo na kailangan ng additional point there. If there's a minor curve there, just add a curve. Okay? You don't need to add a point. Questions? Okay. So, this one, yung next process natin, siya yung pinaka mahirap na gawin, technically. So, let's just get another copy. Like so. Another layer. Copy it again. And now, two ways to do this. One with the original object, and second, you're using the original object as a mask. First, we use the original object, like so. If you have this, okay, be careful kasi once you add points to this, there's no way for you to go back to the original unless you undo. So, you've done this. You saved it. You closed the document. You opened it. There's no undo anymore kasi you closed the document. One more thing. Take note of my file name right now. Ano yung nakita ninyo na naka-append dun sa file name ko?
Recovered.
Recovered. Just as I was talking to you earlier about saving, okay, and then I was discussing to you the autosave, nag-crash yung Illustrator. When you shared your screen, I started doing something, nag-crash yung Illustrator. And this is one of the benefits of the newer versions of Illustrator, the autosave. So meron na ako ngayong recovered. I can now save this as the original file or save it as is or save it as a different name na version 2, ganyan. Okay? So this is the advantage. But do not rely on this. Lalo na kung hindi mo pa sinesave yung file. Pero in some cases, even the entitled unsaved file is saved as recovered. Okay? In some instances. Okay, let's continue. We are now going to we're now going to detail this using gradient mesh. Okay? Now the gradient mesh, I don't really use this that much, but it's fun to use. So here you can directly create the detail on the shape itself. Okay? No blends, no gradients. Okay? So, add a point here, naging black because I'm on the stroke. Make sure that your fill is active. Add a point here. Now, why did I add a point here? Why not anywhere else? It's because of this. Okay? Gradient mesh points and pads act like dams between color points. So this one, meron akong distinct color here and distinct color here. So right now, I'm gonna add another point here. Okay? Now, my problem here is, ang laki na kagad ng gap dito. So normally, I will add the point somewhere here that's close. Para it's easier to edit the point on the other side than it is, okay? Like so, mas madali mag-extend as compared to put points closer together. But nawala yung color ko. Anyway, I'll bring back the color. This one first, okay? So this is now my base color because I'm using the reference color here, sorry. Note, each of these sections act as if they're one shape, okay? Para ngayon siyang combination ng blend and uh, ng blend and gradients. Okay, although there's another process of combining blends with gradients from within a multiple blend. Okay, by applying gradients instead of solid colors. Now, here, I've added a point here. Okay? Tapos pa ba? Yep, tapos pa. Tapos pa siya, no? And you just estimate yung distance between this and this. Kung okay na kayo dyan, okay lang na mag-overlap dyan kasi meron tayong mask. Remember? So, now, if I change the color now from my original color and this one, papalitan ko siya ng darker color, ano yung nangyari doon sa blending ko? Is this what I want to do? No. So here, this is where you add another point here. Using the mesh tool again, add another point here and another point here. So when you add the color in this part here, either selecting the area or selecting the points between those two outer points, like so, isolated siya dun sa area na yon. Get it? So when you look at it now, it looks as if it's the one that I'm trying to follow here. Okay, close enough. So this one, if I want to add another color here para dumiretso dito yung color, I will have to add another point here to limit that and then add the color in this section. Okay? And then edit this challenge. How do you fix this? Note, what do you see here? Ano yung similarities niya with the pen tool? Does it look like the pen tool to you, yung points and pads? Does it look similar? Can we edit this using the pen tool? Can we? Anyone? Experiment nyo later, ha? Or can we use this using the pen tool, group? For example, this is a curve. Can we change this into a corner para hindi siya nagsisway at the same time, like this one? Can we? Let's try. Use the anchor point tool here. Nag-work siya? Does it work? Pwede natin gamitin. We can use the anchor point tool here. But can we use the pen tool here? We cannot. Only the anchor point tool to change the angles here. Now, when you zoom out, it should look something like this. Okay? Medyo sharp siya, no? So, here is where you add move the point a little bit outside, this one here, para hindi siya maging masyadong sharp. Like so, para mag-smooth din siya dito. And this one, move it inside. Okay? Now, don't think about this too much. Ngayon, mas softer na siyang tignan. Don't think about this too much. Okay? Your objective is to add the points. Okay? You can edit it later. So once you've done that, I now have this section. What's next? I'll have to add another point here. Make sure that when you add points, you minimize also the number of mesh points that you're going to do. As such, do not add another point here. Just add one point here. Kung ayaw mag-add, dun sa gilid mo ilagay. Okay? Or dun sa gitnang point here. Okay? Once that happens, naka-white siya, no? I want the yellow one here or this one. Okay? Same here. Okay? You now have this detail. Now, why is this happening? Because mali yung ginawa ko. Okay? Simply put, mali yung process na ginagawa ko. Okay? But this shouldn't happen. When you're doing this, okay, when you add the point somewhere, okay, dapat everything should be selected like this. Then papasok yung lasso tool. Okay? And when you add the color, dapat, okay, meron akong ginawang mali rito. Okay. Okay, this is an error. I can redo this. But you can start doing it now. I'll fix this. Okay? So, you don't have to do this detail anymore. Yung nasa ilalim. Don't do that anymore. Ang habol lang natin is the detail upstairs here. Okay, uulitin ko lang itong ginagawa ko. Start now. And share your screen, please.
Tony, question.
Yes.
Bakit nag-automatic blend siya? Ano ba yung sinelect natin kanina dyan sa ginagawa mo?
Hindi siya nag-automatic blend. This is the mesh. I'll demonstrate it in a simpler form. Okay? This is a simple shape. Nag-add ako ng mesh point using the mesh tool. The one here. When I add a mesh point, this is now considered 4 shapes. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. If I add a color here, okay, I add a color dun sa point na yan, magbe-blend siya automatically. Kasi ito yung isang color, isang color. You know yung wash method sa watercolor painting? When you have wet on wet, diba, you have a solid color na pool, and then you have a wet brush na iba yung color, and when you dip like that, paano mangyayari yung color? What will happen to the colors? It will blend outward. Parang ganyan yun. Okay? Now, if I select this area, okay, they are not separate objects. Okay? They're just separate mesh points. When you add a color here, eto lang ngayon yung may color. Para siyang nag-blend ka ng shape na ganito. It's similar to the design. It's not exact. Para siyang ganyan. Okay? These are technically blended. Ang binablend niya dito yung color points. This one, ang binablend mo yung objects. Okay? Look how similar they are. Well, not really. Yeah, similar lang. They're not the same, but they are similar. If I increase the specified steps here to 200, magiging negligible na yung difference. Now, the main difference here is these are solid shapes. Kaya nakikita mo ngayon yung blend steps between this point and this point here. Okay, if I change this into a curve, Okay? Ganun pa rin kasi yung edge niya rito, yung point niya rito is trying to compensate for the two blend points here. Okay? Here, there's no such thing kasi ang nagbe-blend lang yung point here, point here, point here. Okay, this point is, what color yung point nito? Yellow. What color yung point na to? Orange. So it blends from here to here. Now when I say blend, hindi siya nagbe-blend as an object. Nagbe-blend siya as colors. Okay? Ano yung color natin sa gitna? Yellow. Ano yung color natin dito? When I add another point here and change that color, like so, same thing. Okay? Questions? Okay, start. Remember when you're doing the mesh already, dapat wala kang stroke. Just use the fill.
Sir Tony, question po. Sir?
Yes, JR.
Sir, yung behavior talaga, sir, ng mesh tool, iba dun sa parang pagsapat po.
Ano,
Yung
ano?
pag nire-reshape mo, sir, yung parang path ng mesh tool.
Okay.
Tulad nito, sir,
It looks
parang,
like, iba talaga yan. Iba yung, note, the curve that you see here,
apo.
okay, sandali the curve that you see here follows the curve that you have here. Okay, that's one of the reasons. Okay, whatever your original shape is, your mesh points will also follow, and your mesh path will also follow. Okay, so no issue here. Okay, it only shows you yung directionality ng blending, but it does not affect yung overall na blend colors.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So in 5 minutes, I'm just making you try this out. In 5 minutes, we'll do another way to prevent exactly this. Okay. At least minimize, if not prevent. Okay.
Okay, sir, thank you.
Sir, I have a question.
Okay.
Sir, is there a way to straighten this part out? Or do I have to create like a new point?
Wait. Okay. Same issue with JR.
Okay.
It's with the nature of dependent yan dun sa actual shape mo plus the number of points. Okay? Usually, ang ginagawa ko niya, when that happens, when we begin with a certain shape, when this happens, ini-extend natin siya outside the original shape and then we mask it.
Okay.
Okay? Okay. Let's continue. Stop sharing your screen. I'll show you another thing. Okay. Now, I cannot fix this. I, I redid this, okay? I cannot fix this because there's something wrong with my original shape. So, when that happens, okay, you start with your original shape, okay? You start with your original shape, then you hide it. You hide or lock the original shape. So, i-lock natin siya so you have reference. Object, lock, selection. It's still there. It's still on that layer, okay? But you won't be able to manipulate or select it. It's just locked temporarily. Now, to make this easier, okay, you create a square. Yung square or rectangle for that matter, na almost exact siya dun sa shape na ginagawa mo. Okay, when you do this, it will be a little bit easier to manipulate the gradient mesh that you create. So let's change the swatch color to this. Okay, nasan ngayon siya? Nasa ibabaw. I'll simply send this to back. This is now my point reference. I now have another way to do this, and that's to put the points on the shape first. Okay, so lahat ng gagawin mong mesh points regular regardless of where you click. So where is my mesh point supposed to be? Let's say this is my initial mesh point. Okay, and then I'll do the same thing. Kailangan ko ngayon ng, I need mesh points like this. Okay, wait, I should do it this way. Para mas madali. I should do it this way here. So, as I mentioned, it's easier to expand rather than to compress points here. And then move this up, like so. Now, the drawback here is you have a lot more things to adjust. So, another thing to do, before you do that, adjust it already, the first set of mesh points, like so. Probably this is going to be okay. And then add the mesh points so it's easier to manipulate later on. Okay, this one. Okay, so when I add the color now,
Tony, question.
yes, go ahead, ask the question. Go ahead, ask a question, Harvey.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes. When you added the darker color, what are the points selected?
Yung, I have 4 points here, right? I only selected the inner points. Like so.
2 points.
Yung 2 points lang. Kaya the point here, yung outside points here are the limiting points or the dams. Okay? They will limit the point, they will limit the color from bleeding into the next point. Here, if I select this point instead and I add color, saan siya pumunta? Pataas. But this one limits the color here. Okay? So when I add a color on this point, okay, andun lang siya. I'll add the color here. It's only on that section here. Okay, andun lang siya sa section na yun. Now, when you go all the way here, it's limited by the here. So when I add the color on these 2 points, wala na, naka-maximum zoom na ako. Okay, hanggang dun lang siya. Okay? And this method, okay, gradient mesh is nice for creating realistic images or at least yung mga mukhang paintings. And you have a few examples there with you on your handout. Okay?
Pwedeng apple na lang.
Paano? Apple
Pwedeng
na lang.
apple na lang gagawin natin.
Pwede. You can do that later. But this one, yung mas magandang option to practice. Okay? Because this is more difficult. The apple will be easier for you to do next. Why? Kasi, basically, this is your apple. Okay? Add a mesh point here. Lagyan mo lang ng ibang color. You're done. It's an apple. Correct? Hindi naman. So, lagyan pa natin ng isang color dito na lighter orange. Hindi siya apple. Mukha siyang, ano yung ano niya?
Peach.
Mukha siyang peach. There you go. Okay, mas madali kasi siyang gawin. Kaya hindi siya yung ginagawa natin. Okay? At any rate, we only have 15 minutes left. So just finish this and I'll show you the entire, hindi naman the entire body. Yung entire body na setup, meron tayong itetrace na pattern, doon kayo maglalagay ng mesh point. Okay, this will be your assignment. Although tapos na yung session natin, this will be your assignment. You don't, maglalagay na ako ng submission box sa classroom natin. Okay? And do the best as you can to do that entire thing. Okay? It's not the entire car. It's just the main body of the car for you to practice on. Okay? No time, well, ang time limit natin, at least until next week, magawa ninyo. Okay? But this is rather simple. Gawin nyo muna to. I'll give you the rest of the time to do this shape. Okay? Start with a rectangle instead and then mask it. Proceed. Oh, one thing to note, don't share muna. Ako muna ulit. One thing to note, when we started doing this, wala na yung mga kinks na odd-looking curves, right? Dun sa mesh point. Okay? Wala na yung odd-looking shape because you don't have that initial shape anymore. Lumalabas lang yung mga odd shape na yon when you have something like this. For example, this one. This is an inherent shape. This is a very irregular shape. When you put a mesh point here, I'm more than willing to bet na may mga crooked mesh points here. Like so. Automatic yan. Note, para siyang blend, di ba? Yung path mo dito, nagbe-blend doon sa path sa kabila. Yung path doon sa taas, nagbe-blend doon sa path sa ilalim. And so on and so forth. Okay? Continue.
Sir Tony, possible po ba mag multi-select ng points pag magko-color? Ay, naka-mute ka, sir.
Shift select using the direct selection tool.
Shift select, sir. Thank you.
Tony, I have a question, please. This is Harvey.
Go ahead. Harvey, go ahead. Nakamute ka.
Nagtataka ako bakit sharp yung hindi siya nagbe-blend.
Kita mo yan, Harvey?
Yes.
Because your mesh points are overlapping. Meaning when you did this, minove out mo siya. Okay? Minove out mo siya instead of moving it in. So dapat mag-start ka sa maliit muna na section and then you move out. Mukhang ito yung inad mo muna eh. Ito yung una mong inad, hindi yung nasa gitna.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, nakita mo yung nangyari kanina. I-undo mo several times. When you move this out, check the curve. Yung curve na yan yung direction ng blending mo. You see this?
Yes.
Okay? When you bring this down, when you move this down, hindi ko siya ma-move down. Ikaw nga mag-move nito.
Let me try.
Lumabas, di ba?
Yes.
So that curve, ibig sabihin yan, when you added the points, you started from a small distance and then you move them out. So nag-overlap ngayon yung outer mo tsaka inner mo na points. Okay?
Okay, nag-start ako mag-add ng mga mesh point dito sa gitna.
Okay.
Then, expand ko dito. Parang mali yung pagkaka-move ko dito eh.
Ang minove mo yung inner. Yan ngayon, minove mo yung outer, di ba?
Okay.
Ang minove mo kanina yung inner. Yan. When you apply the color, check it now. Apply the color dun sa gitna. Okay na?
Okay.
What you did earlier, yung inner ang minove out mo. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Mel, Mel, Mel,
Yes.
don't make your shape transparent. Kasi mahihirapan ka later on na ibalik yung opacity. Mahirapan kang gawing opaque later yan when you have already added the mesh point.
Okay.
Kasi magbabago yung nature ng mga mesh points mo. Okay? Magkakaroon sila ng separate opacity. Yan. So, when you do this, do not put the opacity.
Kasi
I-move
hirap
out.
kasi yung parang guide lang para to trace the
Yeah, you do what I do. Okay, stop sharing your screen. Well, let's wrap this up. Okay, at least you get the general idea. Okay. Stop sharing your screen. Let's wrap this up. Okay. Can you see my screen now? Okay na? So, here, notice I was able to fix the problem earlier kasi I forgot to put a mesh point here na mag-limit sa kanya kaya nagkakaroon ng bleed on the other section, nagiging crooked yung blending. Now, notice, isa lang halos yung ginawa ko dito na mesh point. Mel, this is what I do. I simply trace like this and then I move it out. By the way, I forgot to tell you, when you create the mesh, okay, when you create the shape, then the mesh, diba, gumawa ako ng rectangle here. Right? Gumawa ako ng rectangle and then I added a mesh point somewhere here. Okay? Once that you have established the mesh point, okay, I'll send this back. You can do this. I-reshape mo na kagad yung shape based dun sa original shape here. So, when you're editing it, pasok na siya dun sa shape na kailangan mong gawin. Like so. Okay? In the long run, mas madali na siyang gawin kasi your shape is already fixed. It's already aligned with the shape. This will not have the same problem as yung creating the shape before the mesh. This one, eto, like for example, this one, it's swaying. Okay? You can change this. You can separate the control points like so using the anchor point tool. So here, isa lang yung mesh point to here. When you add the details now, it will be easier kasi established na ngayon yung shape. So add a point here, add a point here, add another point here, add another point here. Mas madali na. Ngayon, the main difference here, yun na naman yung issue mo. Okay? Same thing. You will have to bring this in. It's easier to bring things out than it is to bring in. So, bago mo siya i-add, add mo muna yung point dito. Balik ka doon. I know this is complicated, but once you get the hang of this, it will be relatively easier. Once you made this, okay, if you're satisfied with the distance, saka mo i-add yung point. You won't really need to adjust the control point anymore because yan na ngayon yung shape. Okay? So, when I add the color now, isolated na siya right away. Okay? So, I'll add another point here. I think okay na yan. And then, when I add the highlight color, like so, okay? When I add the highlight color, before I add the highlight color, I mean, for example, this one here is the highlight color. Nakikita niyo yung problem na yan? It's because I did not create a limiting mesh point here. I'll add a mesh point first. Okay? And then, when I add the color here, diba, wala na ngayon yung discrepancy. That's my screw up. Okay? Questions? Mahirap ba masyado? Takes time to practice, okay? This session is to give you the idea on how to do this. Now, in your handout, you're shown a few examples of that. This one is so far the simplest. See, face. Saan na face? This is still relatively simple. Ano ba siya? Airbrush ba siya? Photo? Ginawa sa Photoshop? Wild guess. It's all gradient mesh. Okay? So this one, tawag dito sa process na to, stitching. Separate mesh shapes stitched together. Even the background itself is a mesh. Okay, of course, the rest ng background is solid. But this one, pati yung lips, naka-mesh yan. Okay? Now, here, you have yung mas complicated na ginawa niya. Hindi ako gumawa nito, no? Si Ferdinand Ladero to. Okay? Now, this guy can do this quickly because he's an actual painter. Yeah. So, gusto nyo, ito gawin ninyo? Kidding. Okay, this is very, very, way advanced na. Now, this is just to show you the things that he can do, okay, with mesh. Even the background itself is a mesh. Okay? Any questions? I'll give you your assignment. You can submit this anytime until the 15-day grace period, or at least submit it next week. Okay? You have sino nga pala may question regarding this? Si Harvey o si JR? Si Ramir. Regarding this.
Hey, Harvey.
Harvey. So ano yung question mo here? What's your question here?
Can you show us again how to crop everything
Crop?
or do the rim cropping?
Paano cropping? Mukhang iba yung word na ginagamit mo, hindi cropping.
Sorry.
Do it again.
Yes, please.
Okay. So, how many circles? Let's start with the bigger circle. Okay? Parang yung ginawa natin sa rim, di ba? Here, okay? Ano yung next? The circle here. Yan lang ngayon yung kailangan ko. And this one here, like so, yung circle here. Now, what I'm going to do, instead of cutting it right away, what I'll do is create a larger circle for the entire thing. Siya ngayon yung magiging guide ko. I will not rotate these two circles anymore. What I'll rotate is a larger circle. Okay? Encompassing this. So, siya na lang ngayon di-delete ko lahat. Okay? Delete ko muna ito. Hanapin ko lang dito. It's the rectangular shape.
Rectangle.
Sorry. Long, pwedeng maggawa na lang ako ng rectangle like so. And then, reshape ko na siya kaya mas matagal yun eh. So, usually, I just use the pen tool. So, once I do this, almost the same, okay? Ano ngayon yung i-rotate ko? I no longer need to rotate these two circles. I need to rotate these three shapes, yung dalawang circles plus yung rectangle and this one. Okay? It's the same thing as if pag kinat ko to. You'll see the difference. Okay? Rotate natin how many times? How many times?
4.
5?
4 times.
4 times lang. What's the angle?
72.
72. Okay, 72 degrees. We need 5 instances, so we'll rotate 4 times with a copy like so. Okay? I don't
Paano yung
need
shortcut niya po nun, sir? Nung nagpe-paste po.
transform again. Control D.
Okay. Okay.
Command Control D. Okay? So, ang didelete ko dito, eto na lang. Okay? Now, pag dinivide ko siya, when I divide this, and then lagyan na natin ng color, it's going to be easier to, na-divide ko na ba siya? Yep. Mas madali na magtanggal ng mga objects. Mas clear na ngayon yung mga kailangan mong tanggalin at ibalik. Okay? Masyado palang malaki yung circle ko dito. Okay? Anyway, tuloy na natin. Alin pa yung tatanggalin? This one. Yung nasa labas na to. What else? This one. Damay na natin to. Para extra detail na lang. Okay? What do we need to combine now? Using the shape tool. What do we need to combine? Here.
Yung outer circle.
The upper circle. Lahat nung nasa labas na to, you need to combine. So, drag up to this point, drag here, drag here, drag here. Sama to. I'm simply dragging yung shape builder. Okay, buo na. What else? This one. Up to this point. Kasama to. It takes a little while, but you should practice this as well. Okay? Isama nyo to din sa final assignment. It doesn't have to be composite. Kahit eto lang, then lagyan nyo lang ng gradient. Parang yung ginawa natin sa rim. Okay? Questions? Now, this one here, pwedeng isa na lang ito as well. Combined na siya. Okay? As soon as kinombine ko siya with the other stuff, isang shape na lang ngayon ito. Okay? Meron pa na iwan. And then, tama. Questions? Okay, this is your assignment. You have this car. And I will give, I've already assigned you a new image. Okay? Yung image na yun, I'll place it now. It's actually the same car, except that meron siyang guide sa mesh points. Okay? Yung mesh point na yan, naka-mask lang siya. Note, hindi ko siya ni-reshape based dun sa shape ng object. I simply maintain the original shape here. And then, what I manipulate are the inner mesh points. Okay? So, I'll open this one. Okay? This is the file. Okay? Whatever you see here, ayan, whatever mesh point you see here, follow na lang ninyo para mas madali. Okay? And how I assign the points here as well. Okay? Note, kung hindi malinaw yung point here, note this is just 2 mesh points. Okay? Ilan yung mesh point ko dito sa na nakikita nyo dito? 1, 2, 3, 4. So here, there's also 4 mesh points. Kung hindi lang malinaw, I can give you a larger file later on. Okay? Papalitan ko yun nandoon. But once you place this, okay, this is basically it. How many points? 1, 2, 3, 4. Same principle. Okay? Hindi ko lang tinatapos to for demonstration that this one will also have the same color as this one. Okay? Itong point na to and point na to, same color as this one. So I'll select this one first, swatches, which color are you? Hindi ko sinave. So, anyway. This one is the same as this color here. Okay? So, continuous lang siya. Now, you don't really have to do the colors anymore. Just follow the mesh points and follow it this way. Okay, I'll upload this new one na lang na in high res para at least mas madali ninyo makita kung ano kung nasa yung mga points. Questions?
Sir, is this from rectangle? Starting from rectangle.
Yes, starting from rectangle. You're only seeing this because naka-mask na siya.
Ah, okay.
Okay? But what you'll be seeing doon sa ibibigay ko sa inyo, this one. Okay? Note, I started doing this. I realized na masyado maraming i-adjust na points. So, I maintained it as a rectangle. So, tanggalin natin yung mask. Okay? Yan ngayon yung mesh points. It will be easier, okay, for this, to do this. So, do you have any other questions before we wrap it up? Any questions?
No more questions, guys.
No more questions? Okay, so I'll assign this later to you. Ang i-assign ko na lang pala na image para makita ninyo yung detail is naka-screen na lang siya kasi hindi pala natin pwedeng i-screenshot pa na mas malaki. Okay, may limitations sa screenshot size. So I'll send this a little bit later. Those who haven't submitted their review, please answer them right away and then submit within the day. Okay? This one, just wait for it this afternoon. I'll show you, I'll try to do several screenshots na ipapacheck ko na lang siya. Composite ko na lang. Okay? Questions?
None, sir.
No questions. Okay.
Okay.
So,
I have.
yes, Harvey.
While we're doing our assignments, how can we message you if we wanna ask something?
Just message me dun sa classroom. I'll get it.
Okay.
Harvey, you can post your questions sa Google Classroom.
Okay.
Nakashare
Okay.
pa ako, no? So,
Thanks, Brad.
here, sa this one. Sa stream natin, or kaya dun sa classwork, you can message here, di ba?
Doon
For
sa
example,
right,
here.
sa stream, sir, right post.
Yan.
Pwede doon.
Yan. You can ask questions here. Okay? Okay, Arby? Okay. Any questions? Now, if you do have questions that come up during your assignment exercise, jot them down and then ask them here para ma-address natin for everyone. Okay? Okay? Okay. So thank you very much, Brian.
Okay. Guys, I need you to look at your webcam. I'll just take our class picture. Okay. At the count of 3, you give your best smile. 1, 2, 3. All right. Okay. Just a quick reminders lang no before we leave. Okay. So ayun nga sabi ni Sir no, pwede niyong i-post all your questions dun sa Google Classroom. I believe meron na kayong access nito lahat. Okay? And then please paki-answer din nung aming class survey. Okay? Nandun siya. Yung Google Classroom is available for 15 days. So you can still grab anything, all the stuff that you need for practice. Nandun siya for 15 days. Anyway, lahat ng session is recorded. It will be uploaded sa Google Classroom also. So, pwede nyong balik-balikan yung ating mga sessions.
Okay. So, the access, guys, just to clarify, because we're working on a skeletal 4. So, from the time that all the recorded sessions are uploaded, that's the time that we count 15 days. Okay. Sometimes we extend naman if necessary. All right?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Brian.
And in case lang no na you're interested pa to our other schedule, other courses, so you can visit www.pcci.com.ph. Available yan lahat doon. Okay, so thank you for joining. Thank you po all for your cooperation and patience. Maraming salamat.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sir Tony.